Ladies and gentlemen, does the race of your doctor matter? When I was growing up, I had a Black doctor when we lived in the city of Philadelphia. I think all of us did in the hood at that time. And there is a difference in how you're treated. At least I do notice. And, the level of concern is more immediate with that Black doctor. And I think it's because, the face is familiar, it's relatable, and it does make a difference when it comes down to Black men. So this is a story that came out on Fox 5, May 20th, 2019. Does your doctor's race matter? It might for Black men. They are finding that Black men do much better health-wise if they are seeing a Black doctor and more inclined to follow the doctor's instruction. African Americans, of course, they're on that 13% of the population, okay? 4% of African Americans are physicians in America. But what does your doctor's race matter? Yes, it matters. So research show it may, especially for Black men who are less likely to get preventive care and die on average 4.5 years earlier than white men. That's not really a big edge. 4.5 years? 4.5. I used to laugh because every now and then the troll would come and white people live longer than Black people. So one day I went to look and I think it was like 3.6 years. You're bragging. Now, if you were living 15 and 20 years longer, I would say, wow, that's pretty significant. But you're talking about single damn digits, and that's not much of an edge. That's nothing to be bragging about. 4.5 years, that's nothing to be bragging about. Yeah, you're 4.5 years here longer to get yourself fucked over by this government and pay more money. Dr. Louis Sullivan, a former U.S. Secretary, Health and Human Services, and President Emeritus of the Morehouse School of Medicine, says, while we should be comfortable seeing a physician of any race, that's not always the case. The reality today is people feel more comfortable if the physician is like them. Dr. Sullivan says, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. We see that among women, many women prefer a female physician. In the same way, if someone is African American, they might feel more comfortable with an African American physician. If they are Latino, they may feel more comfortable there. The reason for that is they understand the culture, the language, and the customs exactly. In 2018, a study found in Black men seen by Black male doctors were more likely to agree to preventive health screenings, like a blood pressure check, than those who saw non-Black doctors. The researchers followed 1,300 Black men at the Oakland, California clinic who were randomly assigned to Black or non-Black doctor. They found those who saw a doctor of the same race were about 10% more likely to get, I guess, their flu shots, which I don't get. I don't want nothing from this government. 20% more likely to get screened for diabetes, and 26% more likely to agree to a cholesterol check compared with men who saw a non-Black physician. Men treated by a doctor of the same race were also more likely to bring up private issues and ask for advice than men seeing a non-Black doctor. Sullivan believes the patient-doctor relationship relies on communication, trust, and a comfort level in the exam room. If you trust a physician and feel he or she is not going to embarrass you when you give them private, sensitive information, then you'll be more forthcoming, Sullivan says. That helps a physician arrive at correct diagnosis. So, that is why diversity is so important in our workplace, because we're a diverse population. Exactly. Exactly. We sure are. But, in many industries, they still make everything disproportionately white. And this has never been an all white country, but this is how they set the place up. I'm going to go ahead and play this video. Hopefully it will play.
Welcome back to Good Day Atlanta. African Americans make up 13% of the U.S. population, but only 4% of all physicians are Black. A study done last year found that being able to see a male doctor of the same race made a critical difference for Black men. The Fox Medical team's Beth Galvin joins us now to talk about this. Beth, good morning. Why did they look at this group in particular?
Good morning, Ron. Well, they looked at African-American men because Black men tend to have worse health outcomes than any other group in the country. So they get less preventive care. They're diagnosed later than white men. So we sat down with a big advocate for diversity in medicine, Dr. Louis Sullivan, to talk about what these researchers found and what it means. Does your doctor's race matter? Research shows it may, especially when it comes to Black men, who are less likely to get preventive care and die on average 4.5 years earlier than white men. And Dr. Louis Sullivan, the former U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services and President Emeritus of Morehouse School of Medicine, says while we should be comfortable seeing a physician of any race,
the reality today is people often feel more comfortable if the physician is like them. We see that among women. Many women prefer a female physician. In the same way, if it's someone who is African-American, they might feel more comfortable with an African-American physician. If they're like Latino, they might feel more comfortable there.
And the science seems to back this up. A 2018 study found that Black men who were seen by Black male doctors were more likely to agree to preventive health screenings than those who saw non-Black doctors. They were 10% more likely to get a flu shot, 20% more likely to get screened for diabetes, and 26% more likely to agree to a cholesterol check than men who saw a non-Black physician. And these men were also more likely to bring up private issues and ask for advice when they were seeing a doctor of the same race.
The reason for that is that they understand the culture, the language, the customs, etc.
And Dr. Sullivan believes the physician-patient relationship relies on trust and communication.
If you trust the physician and feel that he or she is not going to embarrass you when you give them sensitive private information, then you'll be more forthcoming. And that helps the physician arrive at the correct diagnosis. So that's why diversity is so important in our physician workforce, because we're a diverse population.
And Dr. Sullivan has created the nonprofit Sullivan Alliance to push for more diversity in healthcare. He says increasing the number of Black and minority doctors will require a long-term effort. And he says we need to lower the cost of higher education, especially medical school, and do more to support our public schools, especially those in our cities. And Dr. Sullivan says we need to create more opportunities and more support systems for bright minority students who are interested in science and technology. So it really has to be tackled, I think, from all fronts to help make medicine more inclusive and more diverse.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now, Metro Atlanta has a much higher number of Black doctors than the rest of the country. What about rural Georgia?
It's interesting if you compare. So in the 5 larger Metro Atlanta counties, it averages about 17% African-American doctors. That is much better than the national average. You mentioned 4%. That's much higher. However, if you go out to the rural counties, that percentage drops much lower. In 50 of the 159 Georgia counties, there is no Black doctor. So you have to go out of county if you want to see a Black doctor. So
some great information there. There's something I never thought about, but it makes a ton of sense. So thank you for all that information, Beth.
So there you have it. Black men do better under a Black physician. And, I think it's important, I do agree it's important that we find the kind of people that are in healthcare that are relatable and they understand us without having an issue with us saying certain things, because that's how it is in this country. At least with a Black doctor, they can relate to us a lot better. And I think that's important. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.